All right, where are we? 25. Titus Albucius, who lived in the same age, was well versed in the Grecian literature, or rather, was almost. Oh, who please? Wait a second. Wait a minute. Titus Albucius, who lived in the same age, was well versed in Grecian literature, or rather was almost a Greek himself. I speak of him as I think, but many persons who pleases may judge what he was by his orations. In his youth, he studied at Athens and returned thorough a thorough proficient in the doctrine of Epicurus, which of all others is the least adapted to form an orator. His contemporary, Quintus Catullus, was an accomplished speaker, not in the ancient taste, but unless anything more perfect can be exhibited in the finished style of the moderns. He had copious stores of learning and easy, winning elegance, not only in his manners and disposition, but in his very language, and an unblemished purity and correctness of style. This may be easily seen in his orations, and particularly by his history of his consulship and of his subsequent transactions, which he composed in the soft and agreeable manner of Xenophon and made a present of to the poet Aulus Furius, an intimate acquaintance of his. But this performance is as little known as the three books of Scarius before mentioned. Indeed, I must confess, said Brutus, that both the one and the other are perfectly unknown to me, but that is entirely my own fault. I shall now therefore request a sight of them from you, and am resolved in future to be more careful in collecting such valuable curiosities. This, Catullus, said I, as I have just observed, was distinguished by the purity of his language, which, though a material accomplishment, is too much neglected by most of the Roman orators. For as to the elegant tone of his voice and the sweetness of his accent, as you know his son, it will be needless to take any notice of them. His son, indeed, was not in the list of orators, but whenever he had occasion to deliver his sentiments in public, he neither wanted judgment nor a neat and liberal turn of expression. Nay, even the father himself was not reckoned the foremost in the rank of orators, but still he had that kind of merit that notwithstanding, after you had heard two or three speakers who were particularly eminent in their profession, you might judge him inferior, yet whenever you hear him alone and without an immediate opportunity of making a comparison, you would not only be satisfied with him, but scarcely wish for a better advocate. As to Quintus Metellus Nimidius and his colleague Marcus Silanus, they spoke on matters of government, which as much eloquence as was really necessary for men of their illustrious character and of consular dignity. But Marcus Aurelius Scarius, though he spoke in public but seldom, always spoke very neatly, and he had a more eloquent command of the Roman language than most men. Aulus Albinus was a speaker of the same kind, but Albinus the Flamen, was esteemed an orator. Quintus Capo, too, had a great deal of spirit and was a brave citizen, but the unlucky chance of war was imputed to him as a crime, and the general odium of the people proved his ruin. 36. Caius and Lucius Memmius were likewise indifferent orators and distinguished by the bitterness and asperity of their accusations, for they prosecuted many, but seldom spoke for the defendant. Spurius Thorius, on the other hand, was distinguished by his popular way of speaking, the same man who, by his corrupt and frivolous law, diminished the taxes that were levied on the public lands. Marcus Marcellus, the father of Acerninus, though not reckoned a professional pleader, was a prompt and, in some degree, a practiced speaker, as was also his son Publius Lentulus. Lucius Cotta, likewise a man of praetorian rank, was esteemed a tolerable orator, but he never made any great progress. On the contrary, he purposely endeavored both in the choice of his words and the rusticity of his pronunciation to imitate the manner of the ancients. I am indeed sensible that in this instance of Coda and in many others I have and shall again insert the list of orators who in reality had but little claim to the character. For it was professedly my design to collect on an account of all the Romans, without exception, who made it their business to excel in the profession of eloquence, and it may be easily seen from this account by what slow gradations they advanced, and how excessively difficult it is in everything to arise to the summit of perfection. As a proof of this, how many orators have been already recounted, and how much time have we bestowed upon them before we could ascend, after infinite fatigue and drudgery, as among the Greeks, to Demosthenes and Hyperides, so now among our own countrymen to Antonius and Crassus. For, in my mind, these were consummate orators, and the first among the Romans whose diffusive eloquence rivaled the glory of the Greeks.